Hi everyone, in this tutorial we're going to be working on masking. Actually I'm going to work on mask an image and move it from one background to another background and create shadows. So I'm going to select one of those photos, and this is my another background. So I'm going to be masking this image, okay, and place it on this background and create a shadow for it. So first of all, I'm going to go here and go to the quick selection tool, and I'm going to select the background, which is going to be a bit easier than selecting the character. But my issue in here is that the character is dressed in white. So that's going to be a bit hard because the background also is white. So it's not a big deal. So I selected the background, and then I'm going to deselect the white areas from my character. And the problem is in here, I cannot really see the character. So I'm gonna select my character. I think it's a good selection now. It's kind of okay. So now I can just refine my edges, and I'm gonna go zoom in, and I'm gonna select those. Using the brush, I'm gonna brush over these small tiny hairs just to make them blur in my selection. So I'm gonna select this contour in here, and in here, and in here, and this one in here. So I think it's kind of good. Just gonna deselect this area, and I think it's much better. So now I can see that this is my selection. It's much better now. I can just check for details again, but I think it's fine. I can just select this area in here, okay, and maybe this area in here. When I'm done, just press OK. So now I've finalized my selection. Now I want to invert my selection, or I just want to mask the inverse. If I mask in here, I'm gonna mask the opposite selection. So what I'm gonna do, actually I'm gonna press Alt and click to mask this. So now I'm done with the masking. Now I need to duplicate the layer, and I'm gonna paste it on the other layer, or actually the other image. So now I can see in here I have my selection selected. The image is a bit larger because it's high res. I'm gonna scale it down to fit in the image. So, and then I'm gonna press enter to save my transfer. Done. Okay, now I have this image in here. What I'm gonna do, actually I'm gonna create a shadow for that. So what I'm gonna do, because I have this mask, so I'm gonna select the mask again. So Alt click in here, select the mask, and in here I can just, I'm gonna brush this with yellow, with white I mean, sorry. That's it, I'm just fixing the mask a bit. And now Control A and Control C, I'm gonna copy the mask, and now go to a new layer, and I'm gonna paste the colors of the mask, which is the black and white. I need the shadow of this character, which is gonna be black, and the opposite actually of this. So I'm gonna press Control I to do the inverse, and now in the blending modes, I'm gonna use screen. So all the black's gonna stay, and the white's gonna move. Okay, so now I can just, sorry, I'm gonna use actually multiply. Okay, so now I'm gonna free transfer, Control T, and I'm gonna scale it a bit down, and I'm gonna press Control to skew it a bit, to take a bit of the proportions or the perspective a bit more. Let's say something like that, and now I can move it to fit in here, something like that. Enter to save it. Now I need to go filters, blur, Gaussian blur. I'm gonna blur it to make it like more like a soft shadow, so something like this should be okay. And now what I want to do, I need to cut this shadow from by this layer. So I'm gonna use the same layer in here, the same mask. So Alt to copy this mask, click and drag, drop it up, and I'm done. Actually, what happened is the opposite, because I need the white on the background and the black in here. So I need to invert this. So just press Ctrl I to invert, and as you can see, now the shadows is behind the character. And I can just select in here and move it as much as I want. So now I'm gonna shift Ctrl and click on here. I'm gonna move my shadow, as you can see. It's fine. I'm gonna delete this mask again. I don't need the mask because I'm skewing it again. So I ended up doing this layer now, and I'm gonna make sure that the hand is not cropped from here, and it should be okay, something like that. Now I'm do the same thing, Alt and Control drag in here, and just I'm gonna invert, Control I to invert this, and now I have the shadows. The shadows is really harsh. I'm gonna lower the opacity of it, make them a bit simple, something like that. Now I made my picture get as if the light is coming from here and the shadows going on the floor. Definitely I need to add more filters to it. I'm gonna go in the layer, I'm gonna add a photo filter in here, and I'm gonna add the blue color, which is a filter blue. Okay, and I'm gonna add a bit of blue, let's say maybe 10%. Okay, you can see in here I'm just adding to blend in, and also I can also add brightness and contrast to make it more contrasty, the color, the image, and maybe something like that. What I'm adjusting in here is adjusting all the layers beneath. So what I want this to affect only this layer, and the brightness and contrast also the same. So filter color, I'm gonna press Alt to clip mask. I'm gonna clip it now. I'm affecting only this layer, okay, my character, and same thing goes in here. I'm gonna clip it again on the layer. So now I'm adjusting the brightness and contrast of this character. So just gonna add a bit of brightness. Actually, I'm gonna take a bit of brightness and have more contrasty colors, because the background is a bit like that. So now when I'm done, I have this image, this kind of effect. So for example, I need to add a bit more shadows on here. I can just add on this layer on here, so I can add more shadows. So I'm gonna go in brush, I'm gonna brush it, something like that, and oops, I think I made it. I need to go really details inside and just give a small shadow around the mask. Okay, so this is something like that. That's it. Thank you for listening, and have a good time.